Flosstube, I'm Jennifer and this is my Flosstube channel, Stitching with the Waves. So welcome, this is my very first Flosstube and I'm really nervous to be doing this. I never thought that I would make my own video, but I've really enjoyed watching everybody else's videos. And I wanted to show what I stitch and wanted to jump in and always think of questions that I wish I could ask people, get advice on my stitching. I don't have any in real life, in-person stitching friends, so I guess hope some of you will become my stitching friends. So welcome to my channel once again. I wanted to tell a little bit about myself and then I'll jump into my stitching. So I live right now in Virginia, in a suburb of Washington, DC, with my husband, and I have 2 daughters and a cat, her named Casey. I used to be a molecular biologist. I quit my job a couple of years ago to stay home with my kids. So since then, I've started to have some more stitching time and I've really gotten back into cross stitch. I've been stitching for about, oh gosh, over 30 years now. I started when I was 10. So I've gotten more and more into it. I do work a couple of days a week as a substitute teacher, mainly for elementary school. I've done a little bit of high school as well, but the elementary kids are just, they're sweet and nice and I enjoy teaching them a lot. So I do that a couple of days a week, and the rest of the time I take care of the house, do my volunteer work, and try to get as much stitching as possible in. So I wanted to start off with an old finish. Since I have been stitching for a long time, I do have quite a few older projects and I wanted to show you some of those at the beginning of each of my videos, as long as I have an old, at some point we'll catch up, right? And I won't have any more old finishes, but I wanted to show you some. So this is one that I stitched in, it looks like I finished it in 2001, because I stitched the date down in the corner of it. So it is called A Change of Pace by Barbara and Cheryl. All these years later, I do still have the pattern. It's very, very worn. It probably took me, I'm guessing, 3 or 4 years to stitch it. I was in graduate school when I finished it. So it's just this like front porch scene on, you know, like a Southern manor sort of home. And I can tell from the sticker, I bought it at a shop in Spring, Texas called 3 Stitches. And I was not living in Texas when I finished this. So I'm guessing I purchased it before I moved and had started it there and finished. I don't remember. But it is one of my very favorite finishes ever. I just love the Southern front porch scene. I grew up in Texas. I lived there for a long time. And so it's just kind of nostalgic. Let's see how this works, because it's very big and it's in glass. So I'm afraid the reflection is going to be hard to get rid of. That's not too bad right there. You can kind of see it and it doesn't have too much of the window reflection in it. So it's really pretty front porch. It's like a summer day, just, you know, a nice lazy summer day, drinking lemonade on the porch, right? Looking forward to those days coming up very soon here. So that's it, 2001, one of my favorite finishes. All right, put that away. So then I wanted to kind of jump into some of my whips that I'm currently working on. I started like last November trying to stitch every single day, at least for maybe 15 minutes, or at least get one length of thread in. But then I was doing great. That was going really well. And I have about 10 whips, I think. So I was just rotating through a daily rotation. I'd stitch on a different one every day and I was seeing some progress and that was good. But then March and April happened and I got busy with school stuff and the kids' sports started up and we were traveling for spring break and the stitching just kind of became a lower priority. I had too much else that had to get done and I didn't get time to stitch every day. So I have a couple of pieces that I really, really want to finish by the end of June. And so I switched up my rotation last week and now I'm doing a 3-day rotation. So I work on each of those 3 pieces for 3 days straight. Then I switch to the next piece and do 3 days, the next piece and do 3 days. So I've started to see a lot of progress just in the past like week and a half that I've been doing that. And I think that's gonna get me back on track for getting those pieces finished by the end of June. So the first one is this pattern from Little House Needleworks called Summer. And it is just a little monochrome sampler. The kit came with the pattern and then it also came with 1 skein of Belsois thread from Classic Colorworks. So this is the thread here. It's like medium, dark, and light blue-gray, navy blue-gray colors. I think that's showing up pretty true to color. And I'm stitching it on 32 count lamb's wool Lugana. So this is what I have done so far. I have the top little strawberries in the house, and probably I would say more than halfway done. I tried to really get in there and knock that house out because it's such dense stitching. I figured that would take me the longest time, but this is really only about 4 days of stitching. I really want to get this one done by the end of June because I want to start putting out some seasonal things. I've been inspired by a lot of Flosstubers that I've been watching who change stuff out seasonally, especially Priscilla and Chelsea, and I really want to have some pieces of my own like that. So I thought this color went super well with my house because it's the shades of blue and it does stitch up really fast. It's only about 87 by 87 stitches, so I think that's one reason, but then it's also just all one color, right? So I don't have to do color changes and change my thread. I just need this one thread and we're good to go. The one thing that is gonna take me a little bit of time, I don't know, I have this thing, you guys, I don't know what it is. I don't love people in samplers. I don't know why. I don't know. I just don't. Like, it's fine. It looks cute. One of the people stitch it, but it's just not my thing. So I was thinking her skirt down here is a great shape for like a beehive. So I was thinking maybe I would extend it so it's a little bit taller of a beehive, and then maybe up in this space I'll stitch a couple little bees or something. I don't know. I have to figure that out. So that might slow me down a little bit on this, but I think that when this comes back up in my rotation, I can probably finish it in the next 3 days because that was 4 days of stitching. I just have the border across the bottom, the little gate here, this flower, and then whatever beehive thing I'm gonna try and do over there. So I think it's gonna stitch up pretty quick and be finished, which will be great. So I can get that fully finished for June and get it put out when summer starts. So then my next one, like I said, I have 2 daughters. So this piece is for my younger daughter to go in her room. And I saw it, it just screamed her name. So I showed it to her and she loved it. So we're gonna do that. So my clip is coming undone, so let me adjust that. Okay, so this is by Jardin Privé, Sampler aux Chats, or cat sampler. And it's just a ton of cats and little cat related motifs and a bunch of alphabets. So I love that. I saw on the Jardin Privé website, on her, I guess it's her like sales website, on the page where she sells this pattern, underneath that, she has like this picture, right, in this colorway, that's how she charted it. But then underneath, she puts a bunch of different pictures of people who have charted it, or stitched it in other colors. And I saw one, I tried to look up how to pronounce this woman's name, and I apologize because I'm going to totally butcher it. She's from Amsterdam, I believe, and her name, I'm going to say Gekka. I don't know. I tried to look up how to pronounce the letter G in Dutch, and it just said that there's no English equivalent. So I have no idea how to pronounce her name, but I'm going to go with Gekka. And Gekka has a website called Stitches and Beads. And on there she does a lot of stitch-alongs and stuff. Her stitching is beautiful. And one of the things she did was change this pattern to shades of blue and gray. So I picked out shades of aqua, a light, medium, and dark aqua, and a light and a dark gray. So where she used dark blue, I'm using dark aqua. Where she used light gray, I'm using light gray, stuff like that. I think she did a really good job of picking which motif to stitch in which color, and it's making this pattern go pretty quickly for me because I don't have to think about what color should I do here or there. I've made a few small changes from what she did, but overall I'm doing it pretty similar to what she has already charted out, and it's great. So this is my stitching. So I am about halfway done with this. I was a little less than halfway about a week and a half ago. And that's really, I want this piece done, because like I said, I have 2 daughters. So I want this piece done by the end of June. I started it in January, and that gives me 6 months to finish this piece. And then I can spend the second half of this year stitching something for my older daughter. So I can get something finished and done and put in their rooms for each of them this year. but it's just a bunch of cute, adorable little cat motifs. I really love it. Oh, and the fabric on this one, let me check my notes really quick. This is, oh, it's just 28 count Monaco and antique white. I've had a pile of, you know, fabric stash, and I just pulled this out. It was just antique white Monaco, and I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count. So there's that one. And then this last one, I don't have a picture to show you of the finish because it's actually a mystery stitch along. It's the first stitch along I've ever done. So that's been fun and exciting. It started in January, and I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Jump in, do it. I've never done a stitch along or a mystery stitch along. It's been fun, kind of not knowing what each part's gonna look like or what the finished product's gonna look like. I've never stitched something like that. I've always picked based on the finished picture. So that was interesting. It is charted in color. It's the Quakers in France mystery stitch along from Tempting Tangles Designs. And they have an Etsy shop where you go and you buy the pattern, and then you join a Facebook group after you've made that pattern purchase, and they put the pattern parts on there. They release every other week about a 45 by 45 stitch section of the pattern. And I think there's 16 sections, and it's gonna finish at the end of September. So it is charted in color, but I wanted to do it so it would fit with my house and my style of decor in my house. So I was stitching it all in shades of blue. So this is probably hard to see because it's in the floss away bags, but I keep all my floss in the floss away bags. And 336 is like a navy blue color. And that's pretty true to color there, I think. That's my favorite DMC color. This color goes really well in my house. I really like it. And when you look on the DMC color chart, there are 9 blues in the 336 color family. So I just grabbed all 9 of those and put them on here. And those are the colors I'm using. I thought that would let me do some shading and stuff. Having 9 different shades of blue, it would give me a lot of variety. It wouldn't look too monotone. So here is what I have done. Let's see, there we go. So it's all shades of blue, and it's a bunch of Quaker motifs across the top with a few other little things like the rooster and the bicycles there. I really love that rooster. I think it came out really great. I'm really happy with how he came out. And then down here in this section that I haven't really started stitching, you can see the Eiffel Tower there. And underneath that is kind of a city scene. So the last 4 patterns that were released, 4 sections that were released, across the top, it was part of those Quaker motifs. Let me hold this in one hand so I can point with the other. It was part of it, had like the lower section of these Quaker motifs. And then down here, there's a city scene. So it was just the very top, like the rooftops and some little houses and the top of Notre Dame and part of Arc de Triomphe. So I thought, I didn't want to start stitching it right away until I saw more of the city scene, because I want to make sure that I pick my colors out well. Oops, sorry, I just bumped the tripod. I just apologize for the shaking. I wanted to see more of the city scene before I pick my blue shades that I'm going to use in each area. So the next part, so I need to stitch this right here. And today will be day 1 for stitching on this. I should be able to get that section stitched within 3 days. So next week when they release this section down here, I should hopefully be able to see enough of this city scene that I can make my color choices. And I'm hoping that as I go across this next row of pattern sections, I'll be able to catch up and get this whole city scene put in. So that's where we're at. This is part of a series if you're interested in the Quaker style of stitching. They released Quakers in Holland before this, so it's, I think, close to being done maybe. And then Quakers in England is also out. And I think the designer said that she has maybe 7 different cities in mind and maybe more beyond that, or countries in mind, sorry. So anyway, I'm loving how this is turning out. I think it's gonna fit in my house super well. My goal is to always get the part released before the part stitched before the next part gets released, so I stay on top of this. Like I said, it's my first stitch along. I don't want it sitting around 2 years later. I know that's so easy to happen. Life gets ahead of you and the stitching just doesn't happen. So I'm really trying to keep up with this and stay on top of it, keep the pattern up to date. So that is my current 3 whips. That's where we're at. Oh, and I think I forgot to tell you the fabric for this one. It is a 32 count lamb's wool linen. I just happened to have a piece of lamb's wool linen in my stash that was gonna be big enough to stitch this on, so I just threw it on there. I didn't know. The lamb's wool color goes really well with my house, so we're just gonna go with that. So that's my 3 whips that I've been doing. And I just do, like I said, 3 days on each of them. And then now I'm ready to do my haul. So for my haul, I showed you the Little House Needleworks summer pattern. So I also purchased at the same time autumn, winter, and spring. And each of these, just like the summer pattern, they each came with 1 skein of the Classic Colorworks Belsois silks. So they came with, let me find my, so I can hold it up on the fabric here for you. I have the silks. Okay. So spring came with this weathered vine green color, which kind of would go with my house. I have some live greenery. I don't have a lot of greens decorating. It's pretty much all shades of blue, but this greenish color would still fit in, I think. And then cinnamon stick is the fall or the autumn pattern color. And I don't know about this one, about using it, because my house is very shades of gray and this is very definitely cinnamon brown. And I'm just not sure this is gonna look good in my house. I need to kind of hold it up and see what I think. And then this is for the winter and it's vanilla pudding. That's the color. And it is like creams and a darker cream tan kind of color, beige color. So my concern with the winter color, I don't know that those beige colors are gonna stand out enough on this platinum Lugana fabric. I'm not sure the contrast is gonna be high enough. I think the whiter, lighter colors will show up fine, but I'm concerned that the darker cream colors, the beige colors, are gonna just blend right in and be pretty much the same color of the fabric when I start stitching. So I'm gonna test stitch in like the margin of the fabric with the white and see what I think. And then I feel like I need to find a different color for autumn, which is kind of pressing because as soon as I'm done this summer, I want to start stitching the autumn. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do about that. I have some purples in the house as well. So I thought maybe I could stitch, like get a purpley plum sort of autumn color to stitch with, or maybe even just some darker blues, like more navy. The summer is pretty like, more lighter, not as dark. Maybe I could get some darker midnight navy blue variegated thread for that. In the spring, I don't know, I thought I also maybe could do like shades of aqua so it really goes with my house rather than the green. I have some time for winter and fall to figure out what I'm doing, or sorry, for winter and spring, but I really want to get fall stitched before the fall, so I need to make a choice about the threads before the end of June, I guess. So if you have any thoughts, particularly if you have any specific of these Belsois Classic Colorworks shades that you know might be great shades of purple or aquas or really dark blues, let me know. Put it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. I don't really have a Needleworks shop near me. I know there are two different ones that are about each 45 minutes to an hour away from me in different directions. And with 2 kids, it's just really hard to get down there and shop and do that. So I mainly purchase online at this point, but fabric and threads are tough. So I usually stick to very natural colors of fabric, like the antique white, the lamb's wool, the platinum, things like that. Colors I already know what the fabric looks like. And then for threads, I usually just have stuck to my DMC. This is really my first fancy floss experience using these. And I really wanted the patterns, so it was fine. I'm fine with buying the patterns and then not using the threads. That's okay with me. I'll use them for something else in the future. So that's my haul, the things that I had purchased lately. And then plants are next. So I really want to get summer finished before summer starts at the end of June. I really want to get that cat sampler finished for my younger daughter. And as soon as I have that cat sampler finished, I'll start something for my older daughter. And I started looking for something, but I just haven't found the exact right thing that like really screams her name and like this is perfect for her. So I'm still on the hunt for that, and I need to find that soon because I need to have it ready to go when I finish this cat sampler. And then I need to pick the colors for the autumn so I can get that started right away. And then like I said at the beginning, I have about 10 whips right now. I think I haven't made an exact count, but it's around 10. So I need to look through those and see do I want to go back to a daily rotation when these end of June things are finished, or do I want to just pick out a couple of other projects that I really want to make progress on and do a 3-day rotation with them? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just stitch whatever I want for a while, because I do like having some variety of my stitching. I don't like doing the same things all the time. So that's all I have for today. I thought I would save my other whips since I'm not really actively stitching on them right now, and I'll show you them in a future video after I get these finished. I don't really have a plan for how often I'm gonna post. School gets out in about 2 weeks, so I'm gonna have my kids at home, and I know that's gonna make it harder to film. I'm gonna have to bribe them to behave themselves and be quiet so I can get a video filmed, but I don't know. I'll be back probably in a few weeks, I'm guessing, so that I have enough progress to actually show you something. So if you like my video, if you like the things I'm stitching, I'd love to hear from you. Please give me a comment. If you want to know when my next video is posted, hit that subscribe button and the little bell beside it so that you get an alert that says that my next video is up. And I'm looking forward to just getting into some conversations with people and meeting some of you stitchers. So thanks for watching today, and I'll see you next time.